You know, life is full of a lot of trials, tribulations, and lessons. And I feel like last night I absolutely learned a lot of very valuable life lessons. Of course, right? For months now, I've been saying that for how good of a fighter Sean Strickland is, he probably didn't stand a chance against Dricus Du Plessis. There was just so many hurdles he had to get through to overcome that style of opponent. So what I decided to do was put just a little bit of money on DDP. So what I did was I took my entire monthly YouTube paycheck and I put it on DDP by KO TKO. And yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of lessons I learned, a lot of growth, I think, a lot of character development I went through last night. Unfortunately, my family didn't feel the same as I woke up this morning to a formal staged intervention where they all surrounded me, they all spoke their piece, tears were shed, a lot of back and forth happened. And honestly, I can sit here now and proudly say that I am no longer speaking to my family. But regardless, I'm rambling a little bit. But last night was absolutely insane. Dricus Du Plessis, he was already scary before, but now he's goddamn terrifying. I mean, he is evolving in front of our very eyes. I mean, he more or less, as crazy as this might sound, put a boxing clinic on Sean Strickland, who is probably the best defensive boxer in the UFC. To me, the thing that was most clear about this matchup was DDP was so well prepared for Sean's style. When you go back to their first fight, really the only thing DDP was looking to do was to constantly make Sean back up, to just go after him, and no matter what, do not let Sean pressure, which, look, is a very good idea, but it led to him being extremely reckless. I mean, he was just going after him, winging these giant shots, missing so badly that he was at times completely turned around from Strickland. And this led to him eating a shit ton of jabs. I mean, his face looked like mush after that fight. But because of his attributes, because of his durability, because of his juice, because of his size and strength and power, he was able just to hang in there, absorb all of Strickland's shots, never stop going forward, and eventually he was able to start landing his own big shots. And he was able to win the fight via split decision. But what we saw last night was very different. I mean, DDP's approach was so much less reckless, so much more technical, which, again, right, you would have thought that's not a great idea against somebody who, in theory, should be a way, way better pure boxer. But DDP kind of put a boxing clinic on Sean Strickland. I mean, he just did. And I think what it came down to was DDP was so well prepared for Strickland's style. I mean, he had essentially every single box check. And that is kind of the problem with Sean Strickland. You know, we talked about this in depth in the breakdown for this fight, but obviously Strickland's style is very linear. It doesn't really matter who he's fighting. He's going to do the exact same thing every time, which is attempt to walk you down, attempt to get in your face, jab, and teep. Right? He's going to do that no matter who he's fighting. And again, DDP was very ready for this. As soon as the fight starts, Strickland goes to jab. DDP parries the jab and then lands one of his own. I mean, he was doing this throughout the entire fight. Every single time Sean jabbed, he was looking to parry and land counters, and he was very successful with it. The other big thing, leg kicks. Every single leg kick he threw in the last fight got checked. I mean, again, that is one of Strickland's best aspects of his game. I mean, ask fucking Israel Adesanya. But this time, again, he was waiting for Strickland to jab. He'd parry the jab, land the leg kick right off the parry. He was just timing it so well. And if you take away Strickland's jab, I mean, that is 50% of his game gone. That is how vital it is to his offense. And without it, I mean, what else does he really have? Now, of course, Strickland did look to make some improvements from the last fight, and I think the big one was he tried to throw way more teeps this time around. The problem was, though, You go back to the first fight, like I said earlier, because DDP was just constantly marching him down, essentially just rushing at him the whole time, you needed something to try to deter that. And the teep would have been perfect. Every time DDP is stepping forward, stab him in the gut. I mean, Sean's coaches were begging him for it the entirety of the last fight, and he just wasn't doing it. This time, I mean, he certainly tried. The problem was, though, again, DDP just wasn't nearly as reckless. He wasn't on the front foot nearly as much, so the teep wasn't as effective. And on the flip side to that, DDP had a ton of success with his kicks. Again, something that we've been saying for a long time now. The Philly shell traditionally doesn't work in MMA or kickboxing because it just can't defend high kicks well. The way, though, that Strickland gets around this is through constant pressure. He puts you on the back foot, he gets in your face, and, fucking good luck setting up a high kick while trying to back up while Strickland is right in front of you. But again, just a stylistical hurdle he just can't get past with DDP is he can't pressure him the same way. And because of that, the high kick is always going to be there. And from the second the fight started, DDP was hammering kicks to the body, trying to set up the high kick. And I mean, you just see it. It's there. Sean's hands went down every single time. And when you're dealing with somebody like DDP who can just do so many things, he can throw spinning back kicks, he can throw very good high kicks. He was throwing fucking really good question mark kicks this fight. It's so difficult to gauge where the shots are coming, and he was landing the head kick pretty cleanly at times. Again, right, Strickland's defense is so good that he wasn't landing it super flush, but he was certainly tagging him. I mean, all in all, DDP stood in front of Strickland, and he just outstriked him, and he did it genuinely pretty technically. I mean, you look at a sequence like this, DDP moves forward with a feint, and Sean reacted to the feint pretty heavily. Then immediately following that, DDP comes with the same feint. This time Sean doesn't react, and DDP capitalizes and cracks him. I mean, skill for skill, he really did kind of put a boxing clinic on Sean. And it all culminated into round 4, where again, DDP made Sean miss, landed a counter right on his nose, broke it. Sean seemed hurt. I was freaking the fuck out. I thought my bet was about to hit. I mean, he ended up surviving, but you just don't see Strickland get hit this much. It's honestly kind of crazy. I mean, DDP at times in this fight looked so exhausted, but he just has this ability to keep pushing and keep throwing and just last all 5 rounds. And when you're dealing with a guy this jacked, this big, this explosive, with this amount of power, who can go all 5 rounds and is legitimately a fairly technical striker, I mean, fuck, what do you do about this? I mean, what the fuck do you do? Of course, right, the next fight is Khamzat Chimaev. And I mean, of course, this is the fight we're all waiting for. This is the fight of all fights right here. And the thing is, right, if anybody can match Khamzat's physicality, match his pressure, match his strength in the grappling, I mean, it's gonna be DDP, no question. And on the feet, I mean, fuck, I don't know if that's a close fight. I just gotta be honest with you. I mean, look, Khamzat is not outstriking Sean Strickland. You know what I mean? I just don't know if that's happening. But on the flip side to that, I mean, it is no secret, when Sean and Khamzat trained together, Khamzat would pretty much grapple fuck Strickland. I mean, that's the word on the street. Strickland himself pretty much admitted to that.
What'd you learn from yourself going up against that guy? The Schmo saw you two going at it. You were paired together during the grappling and obviously the striking.
I don't know. What'd you think?
Well, I thought he was good competition.
Yeah, what did you think, though?
Well, I thought you both learned from each other.
What did you think, though, watching?
Well, I think you held your own standing, but on the ground, he does what he does.
Did he fuck me up on the ground? I want your honest opinion. Tell me.
He made you tap a couple of times. The Schmo saw it, but do you want the world to know this stuff or what?
You could tell the world. Listen, guys, jiu-jitsu, I do the fucking man game, the fucking man dance.
Whereas Strickland's get-ups off of DDP's takedowns in both fights was absolutely amazing. I mean, I do think skill for skill on the ground, you would have to give Khamzat a massive advantage here, but I mean, God, I don't know. Is he going to be able to finish DDP on the ground? Can Khamzat last all 5 rounds? I mean, we know for damn well DDP can last all 5 rounds. And we know damn well on the feet, DDP is a little different than former 155-pound Gilbert Burns. You know, it's just, look, it's such an intriguing matchup. And after this performance from DDP, I mean, I don't know how you can't be super hyped for it. I mean, look, if DDP is making these improvements to his game, I mean, I don't even at this point know what to expect from him in the future, but I mean, fuck, right? I mean, fuck.